are. And welcome to Business Focus. I am your host, the Eisen Agency President, owner, founder, chief tuna, and bottle washer, Rodger Roeser. And today I'm joined by Cinny Roy. Thank you so much for being on here.
It's a pleasure.
You are the executive director of the Eve Foundation, is that correct?
Eve Center.
Eve Center. And can you share a little bit about what that organization does and how you got involved and how other businesses can get involved?
We are a nonprofit agency that provides free faith-based counseling by women for women in a 10-county area. Women come to us for all kinds of issues: trauma, lost relationships, parenting issues, struggling with their children or their aging parents,
Right.
singleness, just all kinds of places that we as women get stuck. And it's an amazing thing because the volunteers that care for these individuals who come through the door have been where they are. That's our motto: we've been where you are.
Right.
Maybe not exactly there, but we know what it's like to be stuck, hopeless, joyless, and feel like we're going under.
And just having an opportunity to kind of talk through that or working with somebody who has gone through that, definitely helpful in getting you
Absolutely.
onto the
Listening
next
to their
step.
story, but also if we're change agents for that individual, being objective, not a family member or a friend, we can ask
Good
them,
point.
what do you have control over, so that we can immediately start placing points of hope, a sense of control in the chaos, and move them forward.
Right.
And we see women's lives really radically change. Another benchmark is that many of our clients turn around and take our volunteer peer counseling and then become a caregiver themselves.
That's great.
And it's
a
really
little pay it forward. And
absolutely.
how did you get involved with this?
Well, I needed to do one more year on my master's degree in counseling. I'm a licensed therapist for the state of Ohio.
Okay.
And I realized there had to be a way to honor where women have been without everybody being a credentialed therapist. I found a model out of Bloomington, Indiana, brought it back to Ohio, and we've blown that model out several times over. And so that was the way to build a paraprofessional organization that would train in accountability, confidentiality, boundaries, listening skills, healing models, so that your average woman could turn around and really make an impact for another person.
And you know, you're a model or a testament to taking something that you love and something that you're passionate about, building it into something successful, a good, successful small business. But you and I were going to talk a little bit today about an issue that so many small businesses face. They work. You know, I'm just tired. I'm burnt out. I don't know if I can just do this another day. Can you share a little bit about that and what you see?
Many different things, personally as well as observations.
Sure.
The wonderful opportunity I have is I often get called in to consult on ideas, on visions, on dreams that individuals have, either for a nonprofit or a for-profit
Right.
organization. And it is really important to understand yourself in leadership, what your strengths are, or as I say, your lesser strengths. Because no business plan is going to exclusively be about the service you're providing, the product you're developing.
Sure.
And so one thing that's very important is know thyself. Because the identity of that agency or that corporation is driven by the leadership's personality.
Sure.
When we know a little bit about ourselves, then we know where we're at to tip over the edge. Feel unappreciated, which is a high marker for burnout. We lose ourselves in what we're trying to accomplish,
Right.
which is not a good relationship. We become, in a sense, codependent with our business. Pouring into that, taking care of it, well, we do. We
Right.
take care of it. Who's taking care of us?
Right.
Then we are irritable, lack of balance, our relationships founder. We become less apt to listen to wise counsel from others because we've become so tunnel impaired, really.
And that, you know, you really bring up a good point, because obviously my firm, you know, with the services that we provide, we believe that we can help everybody, and we believe that everybody could use some help. Whether it's from us, it should be from some professional that provides some level of acumen, whether it's in marketing services like ourselves, or leadership counseling from somebody like yourself, or even an accounting company or an HR company. I mean, it's good to look to the experts, but you really hit the nail on the head when you are so myopic in your vision of your business, or you have so much control, that can actually become self-fulfilling and killing your business, can it not?
Correct. There need to be good checks and balances. Just like any business plan, there should be, in a sense, an organizational health plan. What's the pulse of how we're doing emotionally and relationally within the vision of the company.
That's great.
As a nonprofit or a for-profit, same type of thing. So just as we forecast in a business plan and look at actuals and evaluate to do the next steps, same thing should be in terms of our resources within ourselves. What hits the company is taking, what hits us as individuals are taking,
Sure.
to look at how to back away from that. Then also just acknowledge, all right, we've had to drive into sort of our margins of energy. How do we get back so we're not living on the edge all the time? But it's hard. Business
Sure.
is hard. It can say this, but how to play that out.
Right. It is tough. I mean, owning a business, everybody that, is watching this show, and certainly yourself and myself included, it's tough. I mean, it can be a lonely place. Sometimes you do feel undervalued or underappreciated and such and so forth. You try to surround yourself by great people. But we all have days that, you roll out of bed and you're like, I mean, even owners, I don't know if I want to go to work today. But for the most part, you capture that passion, and my staff, laughs at me. My favorite day of the week is Monday because I love coming into work and getting stuff going. But are there some signs that maybe you are close to the edge of burnout? You probably need to take a little break, and what can you do if that's happening?
Absolutely, for any individual, sleep is basic. I'm the type that if I don't get enough sleep, they may as well put a sign on me that says approach with caution.
Right, sure.
Because I'm too rigid and driven. Are we seeing the vision through and still enjoying it?
Sure.
Or is it now we almost feel like a martyr or a victim? We need to be careful. But it is also hard. If we don't work, we don't get paid.
Sure.
If we don't work, those that depend on us as co-employees don't get paid. But there still has to be a point of watching those edges. We all work sometimes 40, 60, 80 hours, but how many of those in a row before there is
Sure,
that
good
bend?
point.
And again,
Good point.
when we are wise and we plan a little, looking at it and assessing, then we can see it. Then we're not just in the dysfunction of the emotion of what's going on in the company, riding on can I make it, which is just emotional energy versus fact. Fact is, I need to go eat lunch. And that was a rule that I learned back when I worked for Hamilton County Juvenile Court System.
Eating at your desk and still working the whole time
and
and
taking
trying
it
to get
home on the
everything
weekends.
done. Sure,
And I had a fabulous supervisor, wonderful woman who essentially picked me up by my polyester lapels back in the 80s
Yes.
and said, the job will always be here, you won't, go eat lunch. Now I've whittled it down to that. But it really is a
That's
good
a
marker
great
of
statement.
the job is always going to be here. An hour break is okay. People say, well, I can't afford to take a vacation. I can't afford to take time off. I understand that,
Right.
respect it. But there are still ways to structure and take control back within even the day of having a 45-minute lunch, that kind of thing.
And with the economy even the way it is, some people are even more terrified to do that. They feel, especially if they're an employee, oh my gosh, if I take a vacation, I'm going to get fired, or I can't afford to
If
even take
I'm
a day
not
off.
here
Right?
to answer that call, then somebody else could very easily slip in, and so we live in fear. And that's not a peaceful place to
Right.
rest. So some of it is really looking at ways to very simply check and balance, rather than looking at the task list to be done. What have I completed? I can still celebrate and champion something that I have accomplished during the day.
And we do that every Friday at Eisen, and we share with each other, how were you extraordinary this week, and what have you done, so we can share in one another's successes.
Another thing is to find someone who will give you affirmation.
Sure.
Not false, oh, you're fabulous, all that
Or looking in the
sort of
mirror like Stuart
nonchalant-
Smalley, right? Yeah.
Correct, not that kind of thing. But somebody who will say, you are sticking to your dream, you are working this through.
Right.
Maybe even this job isn't the one where you want to be, but remember to consider a step towards where you want to go. And so it's finding somewhere and then accepting it. Saying, you know what, not, oh, thank you, oh, how we can push off a
Right.
compliment, but allowing that person to pour into myself and others that, you know what, I'm okay. Today is okay, tomorrow's another day.
Sure.
And those are some things to do. Then just listen to those that are closest to us that we are apt to bark at or claw
Right.
because we let our defenses down of the day, and make sure we're not taking it out on family and close friends, because that's important. Every obituary I read points to family, friends, and then
First.
accomplishments.
Right.
And so we need to make sure we protect what's most valuable to us. So those are small things that can be
Right.
fed in that really can make a larger percentage difference than one might think.
Right. In the immortal words of Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons from Kiss, it's never too late to work 9 to 5. So have some fun along the way, right?
Absolutely. And if
You
you're
bet.
working from 7 to 7, that's
okay too.
Just got to find out ways to interrupt it.
That's right.
Just like a student who's studying, no one should be putting in hours and hours and hours in the library. We just can't absorb it. Same thing. We need to break it, isolate, walk around the building once and back in. Even if it's raining, I love to walk in the rain. Do something that feels risky
Right.
to kind of reset your mental thinking, and then you're just a little fresher. So there are lots of ways that are very easy to de-stress, reset, kind of shake it up, and then go at it again.
That's great. Cindy, thank you so much for being on the
It's
show.
a
How does
pleasure.
somebody get in touch with you, by the way?
The Eve Center is www.evecenter.org, or our phone number is area code 513-985-9959.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the great advice. All you business owners, you have listened, you have learned, now go grow. This is Rodger, over and out.